Good morning, family. Hope all is well. I'm going to do a short video today. Continuing the Millionaire Success Habits by Dean G. Graziosi. All right, I got to turn those alerts off while I'm doing the videos. All right, let's jump right in. We're at chapter 3, The Villain Within. This is a very good chapter. We will call the inner villain within the ego. Sometimes we call him the lower self. It's the lower portion of the doer. It is that inner resistance that in the past talked you out of pursuing the things that made your heart smile and melt and helped you reach the next level of life. The ego has created a glass ceiling, an artificial limit on what you can achieve and who you can be. You must acknowledge, assimilate, and let go of the ego, which is sometimes called the false self, which is the sensations going into how our body receives stimuli from outside. Ego rules that realm. We must acknowledge the ego or it will do major damage to our growth. By identifying the toxicity that the false self or ego attaches to through the attachment of the senses, sensations, physical and material world, then letting go of those attachments, you will restore your confidence, courage, and connection to the higher self, your true self, your triune self. So it's a constant battle going on within you between your higher self and your lower self. And if you know about the universal laws that can help you stay at that higher level, at that higher frequency. Also the 10 virtues and the 5 agreements, which we will go into in a different video. You got to figure out a way to control your thoughts by thinking without creating thoughts, by not being attached to the outcome or any object associated with the thought. That's a whole nother class, but I added on to this. He didn't go that deep into it, but it triggered thoughts within me, which made me realize that, that inner villain that he talks about is real. According to his research done by UCLA, the average human being has around 70,000 thoughts per day, and 80% of them are negative. Negative in a sense, limiting, showing you the worst case scenario. Control your time with productivity. Use your time and your energy wisely to search and research within yourself. Spend more time bonding with the people you love and that love you. Work on developing a positive, successful, habitual routine. Focus on your strengths, not your weaknesses. By working on your strengths, you help overcome anything that you consider a weakness. This is for the kids, the youth. What are you good at? What have people told you that you're good at? Everyone is good at something, if not multiple things. So dig deep for it and find that innate force that you are inclined to. Society, parents, schools diminish our children's confidence in their abilities because they focus too much on our weaknesses or this level of standard that they create for us. We all have strengths and weaknesses. The truth is that when we are taught to work on the things we are terrible at, it makes us struggle more and destroys our belief in ourselves. So we need to focus on more things we're good at, not things that we're bad at. Your success depends on making it a habit to focus on improving what you already are good at to the point of greatness. If you put energy and focus into the things that you are great at and be great at them, then you can eventually pay for someone else to do the things that you are not good at. Let's say that again. Your success depends on the habit of focusing on improving what you're already good at to the point of greatness. If you put energy and focus into things that you are great at and be great at them, you can eventually pay for someone to do the things that you are not good at. Okay, so that inner villain that creeps up all the time, you got to control that with your thoughts and focus on the higher parts of yourself and the things that you're good at, because that will push you through. Here's a technique that I'm going to give the students today, okay? Create a good at list, and then next to each entry, write down how you can improve those skills and enhance those abilities to be great at them. For example, if you want financial success, if you want to build real wealth, make it a habit to focus on things you do well. Don't take advice from people who have failed and gave up on what you want to accomplish. You must always take time to filter the advice that comes your way and see if the person sharing the advice is qualified. Okay, some people aren't qualified to give advice. Just because they're your friends or their experience doesn't make them qualified. Okay, you got to be very careful who you take advice from. People have good intentions, they want to help and see you win, but their fear and limitations, the ego within themselves, which has slowed them down, they're going to pass that advice on to you. So a lot of times people say, oh, well, you know, I can't really do real estate investing, for example, because so-and-so did it and they lost money. Now, that person that did it and lost money is telling everyone that wants to get into it, no, you can't do it because you'll lose money. Now, maybe they did it wrong. Maybe they had a wrong deal, bad partnerships. Whatever the case is, that just should not inflict or affect you into you doing what you want to do. If you have certain strengths that they did not have that will help you in that capacity, utilize that, okay? Once again, be very, very careful of taking advice from people who are miserable and not at the point where you want to be at. So make sure you qualify people when they give you advice. Here's another technique. Create this new habit of ignoring bad advice and getting good advice from qualified people. Okay? Create a habit of ignoring bad advice and getting good advice from qualified people. Diminish, assimilate, ignore your ego, and listen to your consciousness, your knower, and achieve a new level of confidence. Stop doing and trying to be what they are and what they do. We tend to think that being responsible is doing what everyone else does, and we force ourselves into something that makes somebody else happy, but does not feed or fuel our soul. Stop trying to please everybody. I fall into that same trap at times. You can't. You got to focus on yourself. And you got to create a habit of ignoring bad advice and focusing on the good advice from qualified people. One last technique I'm going to ask you today. What changes would you make today if you didn't care what anybody else thought? A lot of times we worry too much about what other people think. What changes would you make today if it didn't matter what people thought, regardless of what the perception is? What reality would you change about yourself today? Think about that. All right? We'll stop there today, and we will catch you on the other side. Peace.